How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? We're back here on the Eternal Backlog Podcast. I'm Nomad, and I'm here with Shady Armic. How's it going?
It's been
We're
a while.
back, baby.
It's been a minute, hasn't it?
It's been a minute. It's been a hell of a minute. We overdid it at Summer Games Fest, and we felt like we needed that little bit of extra decompression time, because when you end up getting into doing this, you realise how little time you've actually got to play video games on top of holding down a full-time job.
Yeah.
So we're back in the mix. We've been digesting everything that's happened over the last month, and just straight off the bat, for those that are watching, welcome, who have joined us recently, especially over that coverage period. And two, what is your Summer Game Fest game? Let us know in the comments section. We'd really love to hear what excited you after that very, very awkward start to that long weekend. What excited you the most? Let us know in the comments section. But anyway, let's just start off with a bit of a general chit-chat, because we haven't had a proper catch-up for a little while. And I just wanted to what's been prescient and on your mind? Has it actually got four wheels?
It has got four wheels. I was going to say politics, because there's a lot of that going around at the moment.
Yes,
but
there is, yeah.
This is definitely not the podcast for that. No, just decided to treat myself to a new car. So that's always a bit exciting, waiting for that to be shipped over from Germany. Heck, maybe we'll even make that this week's poll. What car did I get from Germany?
What made you go for that particular European brand? Because we'll let you know it's Europe. We're not going to put a poll up, really.
No, I'm kidding.
So it's a BMW, right?
Right. So I've currently got a Z4. I've always had a thing for Z4s or Z4s, depending on where you're listening.
Yeah.
And I just figured, I'm at that point in my life now where, time's ticking away. Life is short. Some may call it a midlife crisis. I call it, just getting started. And just, said, hell, I'm probably never going to get this opportunity again. So I forked out for an M4 competition. So
what's the difference between when you call it an M4 competition? What's that? You get a bit of souped up. What's that? 0-60 and what?
3.2-ish.
Yeah?
It's ridiculous.
It's enough to give your prostate a bit of a workout.
It's enough to put your prostate back in.
My nephew's got your typical boy racer car, and when he floors, I'm just literally, you get the best Kegel workout you could ever think, because you just think he's going to do something completely stupid. Yeah. And but yes, speaking on the situation of the driving, for those that don't know, I still can't drive yet, but we're getting there. We're nearly there. I've got my driving theory test coming up next weekend, so I won't actually be playing many games next week, because I will be cramming to try and pass that thing. And
let's make this a bit of a beneficial, educational podcast. You want to learn how to drive to help you in the meantime while playing games? Forza Motorsport without the arrows on. Turn all the aids off.
Yeah.
Put the gear shifts in manual. I'm telling you, it'll work.
Yeah, well, I don't have a wheel.
You don't need to. It's more about the gear changing and when to brake, because it will throw you off the track if you brake too late or too fast.
Okay.
Yeah. What are you learning to drive in, just out of curiosity?
A manual.
Yeah. What car?
The car. Oh God, I can't remember the name of it. I think it might be a Kia. I think it's a Kia or something like that. Either way, it's I'm just looking to get from A to B. I'll drive a Skoda. I don't care.
Skoda's a good car. I'm sure there's a Kia. Kia has to be in Forza by now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you are interested in combining games with a bit of educational learning on how to drive, I definitely recommend the new Forza Motorsport. That's our top tip for the week.
And there is actually a driving instructor game on Xbox, by the way.
Is there? Only you would find this.
£35 though. It's a bit on the pricey side, And I'm hearing that it's not perhaps. I think it's got the quality of the Astragon level of
Truck simulator.
Yeah, proper budget simulator games. So
what did I see the other day? I saw Gas Station Simulator the other day.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that's got to include some robberies at some point, surely.
Oh, they take the fun out of it. You can get more. It's probably more realistic just playing GTA Online.
That's true.
Than with those guys. And I think a new truck simulator comes. By the way, one game that I'm really looking forward to comes out in September. It's Star Trucker. It's Euro Truck Simulator in space.
What?
I'm going to do a one to watch on this before we record our next episode on Star Trucker. Seeing is believing because they've melded the two worlds. Yes, we got long tail vehicles in space. And are you looking it up?
No, I'm turning my notifications off because I've started to get an influx on one of my group chats. So
fair enough.
It's that point of the day now.
Yeah, it's on there. I'll be picking that game up when it comes out. Anyway, we're recording this on a Friday and it goes out on a Tuesday. And in between that, we got a very, very big situation happening on Sunday for those that are a fan of football. Well, I mean, I'm a super fan of football. You're more of a casual fan of football, right?
Yeah, I like the world events.
Yeah. Well, we've got the European Euro 2024 final. England made it through. And as this is going out after the game, I thought we'd very, very touch very quickly on this. And I wanted your predictions. We'll see if we're right. Do you have a score prediction in mind?
I'm still debating on who's going to win. The odds are definitely in Spain's favour. They've played more consistently, more aggressively throughout the entire tournament. England picked up in the last game, but there's not enough there for me to say comfortably that that's how it's going to be on Sunday. I don't know. I think Spain could do it only by one, so it'll be something like 2-1, 3-2, something like that.
So my opinions are, I think Spain have got 2 goals in them. And if England could score more than 2 goals, they could potentially win it. And it's kind of worked in their favour a little bit here in the fact that they've played bad all tournament. So all the fans' expectations are, even though I think at the beginning of the tournament, England were favourites, supposedly. Don't know how. Because they made it to the final last year. But the fact that they haven't performed as we expected them to perform, all the pressure's off. You never know. Maybe that's the time when you're not expected to win it is when you might just win it.
So you think they've been putting on a bit of a fake performance this entire time?
I don't think they've been hustling, no. but I think the pressure, the media pressure and all that lot that's always there historically with England just isn't there because they've struggled to get through this tournament as it is. And that could be maybe, all of the planets have now aligned in that last game.
Yeah, that's what upsets me, though. It's at the end of the day, it's only Euro 2024. It's not the World Cup. So no matter how...
It's not, but we've not won anything since 66.
That's very true.
So,
but somehow we've got the most prestigious league in the world. So I don't know how that quite works out. It's just got to be the pay banding. That's all it is.
I'm going to go for England. This is my heart, not my head. I'm going for England to win 3-2 because I think Spain have got 2 goals on them. And I'm going to go, this could be proper like Mystic Meg stuff. Can you imagine if this is right?
Go on.
France are going to score 1 goal that's outside the box. Spain. I mean Spain.
Yeah, that's your Mystic Meg, all right, yeah.
Spain are going to score 1 goal out the box and they're going to score another goal via a corner. But England are going to win 3-2.
Hope you're right.
Now, let's see what happens. I'm going to stick a couple of quid on it and see. I don't know if you can do those permutations, to be honest, but I'll go for the 3-2 scoreline anyway.
Well, I've already done my betting for the week. I bought some shares in Nvidia last week, and I bought some shares in ARM this week. So, well, that's my gambling done for the year. See how that pans out in 6 months.
We shall see. We got to get your obligatory shaving update, or the lack of shave update this week.
Lack of shaving. I've had a lazy one. I don't know what it is. Well, we've had a 48 degree heat, 48 degrees Celsius in Vegas this past week. It's our record of all-time record. So plants are dying. Everything's got burn marks on them. The floor's got steam coming off of them. The tarmac. For those listening in the States,
internet's actually stayed up.
My internet's been going intermittently in and out of connection for the last 60 days or so. This week I've had 3 dropouts for multiple hours each. Yeah, everything's cocking up. The air conditioners are struggling. I've had to buy a second fan. It's a different level of heat. I've never experienced anything like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad I'm not experiencing that. Bad enough as it is, but you imagine getting those temperatures with places that don't have aircon at all?
See, this is where it's tricky. When I lived in the UK for 34, 35 years. And every time I stepped out of the front door, I was used to cold air hitting me, right? What messed me up the most moving over to Vegas is every time you open the front door, hot air hits you.
Yeah.
It's the complete opposite, and I still never get used to it. But I haven't worn a jacket in 5 years, so that's nice.
Have you not?
No.
Well, there we go. So, guys, just to give you a quick call to action, not only are we back in sort of the episodic schedule we're hoping to be, so that's like 2 episodes over the course of a month period, and then we'll see what happens as we come up to Gamescom. No, we're still waiting to see what's happening with the Gamescom stuff, but if we do any reactions, I think we pretty much said we're going to try and figure a way out to do it live, but we might not have all of the lovely branding on it, because it's just too much of a pig's ear doing this stuff after the fact. So we'll see what happens as Gamescom comes along. Another quick call to action. Come and join our Instagram page, because we do some exclusive stories on there, so you can get content you just can't get on the other platforms, and that's pretty much in between recording. We might just go on there and post what we're playing right now, or whack in a little bit of mystery, what's the game, and random stuff like that. So get involved over there. And last thing, before we get into the Playstack, which is the games we've been playing, is a little bit of a notice for those that have PlayStations and PCs. Concord, the open beta, is available from July 18th to July 21st.
I'm trying to
so
go
if you
back.
do want to get into another Overwatch clone, you can get into it.
That's the one that looked like Guardians of the Galaxy, if I remember correctly.
It did, yes.
Right, so yeah, my recommendation is go in there knowing what to expect.
Are you going to give it a go?
No.
Okay.
I've got Final Fantasy VII Remake on my PS5, Ghost of Tsushima, Spider-Man, Miles Morales. I've got games to play. I'm not playing Concord. No.
Another free-to-play.
No, I've already tortured myself with XDefiant quite enough.
Yeah, I say free-to-play. It's not free-to-play, is it? I don't know why I said that. But anyway. On with the Playstack. Oh, it's nice to be able to just talk about games that we've been playing. Let's start things off on... So we've had the last few episodes. How's everything going with Dead Island 2? Nearly there. You bought the DLC, right?
Yeah, I finished the DLC. I actually finished the second DLC just last night. There's a lot of criticism with the DLC. I don't know. I'm a sucker for the lovely scenery. So I've done all the main missions that you can possibly do through and through. I'm literally just in mop-up mode now. So I've just got certain kills with certain weapons, collectibles, exploration type achievements, and I think I can probably get the full 1400. I think it's 1400 Gs. Done and dusted.
Have they experimented with the DLC? Like, Alan Wake 2 came out with DLC. They just completely rewrote the script and played around with new stuff.
Yeah, they experimented it in a way, in the sense of location. So the first DLC is a music festival, and the second one is like one of these weird... How do I explain it? It's like something like a Clockwork Orange. You go into a house and then there's like corridors and people wearing all masks and heads missing and all weird stuff like that.
A little bit like Saltburn.
Kinda, yeah. But the gameplay is exactly the same, but just the locations is really what makes it interesting. I like them.
Nice. I did about a couple of hours in that and then never went back onto it.
Oh, you've got to go back to it. It's such a fun
game. I've got to go back to it. Should I do one quick? I'll do a quick one. Let's talk a little bit briefly about Duck Detective, the Secret Salami.
There's an innuendo in there
So
somewhere.
I bought this off the back of Summer Game Fest. It was one of the games that was shown in the indie showcases, but also released within like a couple of days. So it's just a narrative sort of detective game. You play a duck who's down on his luck. Someone's nicked a bunch of salami. I know it sounds stupid, but basically you do a lot of deduction and figure out the clues from all of the different people that you speak to. And you've got to fill in like the blanks. And it's very, I would say that the only way to play it is either with a touch-based handheld or play it on the PC. It would be a horrible experience to play on a game controller. What can I say about it? It's cathartic. Can probably complete it to be about 3.5, 4 hours. It was pretty interesting. That's all that I can really say about that one. I wouldn't say it's gonna absolutely,
I'm looking at the notes.
Game changer,
I'm looking at the notes here. Detective Duck Eugene McQuacklin. That's all I need. That says everything.
Yeah. So it was something a little bit different. I kind of got, drawn into these games that have the cutesy factor or something a bit weird, and that one took me. What else have you been playing then? So I mean, there's a bunch on here.
Yeah, there's a bit of everything really. So I was going through my game library, and for some reason I had games that I had planned to finish, but for some reason they were uninstalled. And one of those games was Comic Zone, a classic from the Mega Drive Genesis era. And it was just one of those games that I always remember being ridiculously hard, never finished it, and I always wondered what the ending was like. So obviously these remakes on modern day consoles, they have a bunch of quick save features, so you can kind of kill an enemy, quick save if you perform well. Otherwise, if you die, just reload the previous quick save. So you don't actually have to start again with one life, which is what Comic Zone naturally is. It's one life throughout the whole game. I still don't know how you're going to do it.
So is that the one that looks like a comic strip, but it's
Pretty
a beat 'em up?
Yeah, it's like a side-scrolling beat 'em up, a little bit of platform traversal, and then you literally jump over the white sort of strips in the comic to get to the next scene. Really innovative game, actually. I'm surprised that more games haven't kind of followed that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But it was nice. It's an older 360 game. Got the full 200 Gs. Those are the days where arcade games had 200 Gs instead of 1,000.
So is this the original reboot of a Genesis game?
I don't
Or
know
is this a
I don't know about a
reskin?
reboot. It's, as far as I'm aware,
it port?
Comic Zone. Yeah, it's just a port. Yeah,
Right.
they literally ripped the ROM through
Yeah.
a main menu on it that's more indicative of today's kind of menu navigation, and call it a day.
Nice. I think you can also get that on the Sega Mega Drive collection. I think there's one of the
Which
games on there.
I actually have, which I'm not going to finish again, unless it's an achievement.
Fair enough. What's Doggos?
Doggos, I've got a soft spot for these sorts. I know where your brain's going.
With Stan Collymore.
I don't know if it's Doggos or Dogos. It's one of these top-down shooters.
All right.
Scrolling, shooting enemies, Space Invader type thingamajigs with parallax and backgrounds. But this one's a bit different. It's got free roam. So although you start off on one side of the map, you control the ship with the left stick, and you can control your sort of strafing with the right, which is a new spin on it. Hard as nails. But I'm about halfway through it. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
I went and, our feature game for this episode, as you'll be able to see, which we'll get into a bit later. Oh my God. Is obviously Ghost Recon Breakpoint, but I decided to reinstall Ghost Recon Wildlands, the one that's set in Bolivia with the Santa Blanca cartel. Santa Blanca. You always used to hear that whilst you're playing the game. There was always someone singing. Anyway, so I decided to reinstall that because I never finished. Well, I finished the game, but I didn't. You can complete the game without destroying all the factions, basically. So I went back and played some more of the faction-based missions that I never completed, and bought the DLC, which I still haven't played any of the DLC yet. So I don't know how good it is. I was waiting for that key price point, and finally, after over 4 years, the DLC for Ghost Recon Wildlands was finally scraping at the bottom of the barrel price for me to be able to pick it up. So I picked that up and got some of that action. But it was really surprising just how much I enjoyed Wildlands, and it's really surprising how it plays against Breakpoint, which we'll get onto later, because even things like things you would think that they'd improve in Breakpoint, they actually didn't. So it's weird. It's almost like my original thoughts were I preferred Breakpoint, but since going back to Wildlands, despite the story is very empty in Wildlands, I'm actually kind of enjoyed the Wildlands experience a bit more than Breakpoint, which we'll go on to about Breakpoint, but when we get into that specific segment. But so I've just been going Ubisoft mad, really, just chomping away at bit more on bits of those games, and all of the achievements on that. You get ones for basically unlocking and getting every single weapon in the game. I mean, you're there for hours. I've put in quite a few hours into that game. What about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Cowabunga Collection? How have you been finding that?
Nostalgic.
Yeah.
I've pretty much played all of them in the past at some point or another. One in particular that will always stand out to me is the one on the NES, the one that was really hard, that has that infamous swimming level where you have to disarm the bombs that is damn near impossible. No, it's a lovely collection. It's every Turtles game on damn near every platform you can think of. Again, they've added the quick saving, the quick loading. There's, you can add the scan lines and all those usual features that you find on these older collections as well. It's just been a pleasure to play again. Just brings back a lot of memories. And this is one of the collections they've done extremely well. A lot of polish in there, a lot of extra content. Yeah, I've done about half of the games. I'm kind of saved on the NES one right now. That's the one that's taking the longest because it's a fully... I don't want to use the term open world, but it acts like...
Is that the one with all the sewer system? Or like the map of the sewer system on it?
I think so, yeah. You sort of start off on the city streets in the van, and then you go down a sewer, and then that's the level, and then you come up again, you go down another sewer, that's another level.
Yeah.
And then you jump off a dam, and that's where you got to do that swimming level, and that's kind of where I'm stuck at right now. It's just, there's a lot of coral in the swimming area, and you just cannot touch it, and those older NES games just do not have the accuracy to kind of maneuver in those tight spaces.
Yeah.
So it's proving a bit of a challenge, but at some point I'll get through it and... polish up. I probably only need one more 1 or 2 hour session with that collection, to be honest, to kind of put that to bed.
Nice.
Yeah, it was on sale, so I'll grab it.
Nice. And I've been... Well, look, I just put... it's just... I get it. For those that have been watching previous episodes, and you would have seen the way that I was foaming at the mouth over Ubisoft's XDefiant. Well... We've deleted it off one of the consoles now, and I've found a new favourite free-to-play.
You're not getting me on this one.
Game. And well, this is the thing. I thought, no, you're not going to trust my judgment on it. But my new favourite free-to-play shooter game is now officially Splitgate, which had already closed during any further development for this game because they're working on number 2 on Unreal 5. But I was so surprised at how good this game was for me. But it is... Imagine Halo meets Portal. So you can create your portal points to get advantage locations on the map. And there's... you can start to play around with all of this in such a degree that if you create one portal there and you've got momentum, you can end up creating jumping huge chasms and stuff like that. There's so many different game modes on this. It's like on a playlist rotation. One of them, because you also have a jetpack, which gives it a bit more of an advantage over Halo in terms of traversal. There's one particular mode where it speeds up your movement and you get unlimited boosts on your jetpack. And that game mode is so much fun to play. The weapons are... You mentioned about Breakpoint that the weapons don't have much bite. I will say that you don't get much bite on the weapons on this game. But it was... I played it and you can kill people and you don't... you're not getting shot through walls. It's a game changer.
It's nice when stuff works, isn't it?
It is nice when stuff works. So I've been really enjoying that and I'm looking forward to the second one. I just played it on a complete chance. And... that core mechanic of being able to use those portals was super interesting. And you start to, really think about how you can use and leverage them, teleporting between one bit of a map and another. The maps are really good. You can think of, all sorts of different locations from a giant sort of stadium, multi-level stadium, not like the one that's in XDefiant. A bit more futuristic. You've got Aztec-inspired levels. Certain things you would see on Halo. And there's also a game mode on it called Teabag, confirmed.
No.
Where you can kill the enemy team to score points, but you must teabag the enemy's body with melee combat only. Yes, this game has borrowed a lot of love from... Yeah, with teabagging.
Oh, that's great.
So there's a whole
Why
bunch
didn't you
of
lead with
stuff.
this?
I should. Am I now piquing your interest?
I want to see what that's like. Not in real life, but got to get some use out of my B button.
So there's a lot of inspiration taken from Halo, but for me, I what we played in Halo multiplayer, you don't necessarily get that crispness with the combat that you would get on Halo.
Yeah.
But in terms of it being super fun, you feel really rewarded when you get kills. You go straight into that game. You don't feel like, even now, bearing in mind how many years that game has been out, and I came in as a fresh player, and I didn't feel like I was getting absolutely mullered. You went in there and you felt like you could compete straight away. If you've played a bit of Halo, and I'm not saying obsessive Halo, because it's a lot more accessible than Halo. It's a great little one, and there's a lot of G's to pop. So
Oh, you're talking my language now. You know exactly what you're doing. I might check it out on a bank holiday or something.
Well, we can always give it a little spin.
But it's interesting you mentioned Halo because we should probably have this as a story, but we don't have it there. But there has been a somewhat confirmed leak that there was a Halo project spinning up around the time Infinite was kind of dwindling down. Yeah. A lot of people thought that they were going to take Halo and just port it to the Unreal 5 engine, which doesn't make sense. However, it looks like the leaks are coming out as this is an actual Halo 3 remake. So when you talk about the best of the best Halo and the crispness and everything, that's the one you want to play.
Oh, so definitely. I don't know why they're bothering doing the CE remake. Because they confirm they're doing that for PC or something.
Yeah. Maybe that's it. I don't know. We will have to find out. We'll probably find out next year, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is one that I'll be sinking many hours into.
Yeah, definitely. And then last night we had a chance to play some games together. And you pulled one out because you said to me, "Have you played that game where there's a bunch of celebrities in it?" And I'm like, I don't remember. Don't recall anything like that.
No, this wasn't that game.
Oh, it wasn't that game.
That's another game. I've got to find the name of it. It's got Chuck Norris in it. Oh, hang on. I'm going to find it.
Well, I'll give that one a spin. But anyway, we decided to give it... And this game's been out for eons. Broforce. And I have to say, I really enjoyed playing that last night. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. And I played about half hour of it back on the PlayStation 4. And I was playing with... It's a different game when you play it in multiplayer, I think.
You and I played this maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago in Germany. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
We were waiting to interview... I think it was someone on the Devolver team. And as we were waiting in the lobby, they had a PS4 there. And this was on there. Yep.
Oh, was it?
Yep. That's where I'll always remember it from. But this is kind of like a Broforce complete edition that they've been able to legally get away with not having to be exclusive on PlayStation anymore. So they've managed to get it onto Game Pass on Xbox. Yeah. But no, you're absolutely right. It's one of those games that is absolutely fun when you play it cooperatively, up to 4 players. I have played it for a couple of hours solo, and it is very hard. You don't have that same, jovial element where everything's just blowing up and you don't know why, and you're both crying and laughing. And you don't know. Yeah, you don't know how this game is going to turn out. But the game that I was talking about, I found the name. It's called Crime Boss Roque City, and it's literally
Crime Boss or Prime Boss.
Crime.
All right.
And literally, it's got like Danny Trejo. I'm looking at the box art. Danny Trejo, Chuck Norris, Michelle Pfeiffer, Vanilla Ice, Danny Glover. There's a couple of other faces here that I don't know the names of the actors, but I've seen them in plenty of films. It's just star-studded, and it just puts you in little set pieces. Like, you and I will pick a character and we'll start off on top of a shopping mall roof, and we've been surrounded by SWAT, and we've got to get out of there alive. It's just a bunch of those kinds of scenarios.
So what is this? Is this a 2D side scroller, or is it a...
No, it's a FPS.
Oh, really?
With set pieces, yeah. It's really interesting. Yeah.
I'll have to have a look at that. Pop it on the old wish list. Get it.
It just got added to Game Pass.
Oh, is it?
I believe so. Hang on. It was on a free weekend once, and that's where I played it. Yeah. Let me just double check. I think it is on Game Pass.
Is it multiplayer?
Yeah.
It's online multiplayer.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Where is it?
So the reason why we mention that is because Broforce has got characters that are spin-offs of real major heroes from, classic 80s movies into the 90s, or has just gone, cross-generational. Some nods, isn't there, to like Marvel characters, and
Yeah.
I don't know where Blade sits in that territory. It's a bit of a weird one.
It's just all the butch guys, Sylvester Stallone, RoboCop,
Yeah.
Terminator, Indiana Jones, that whip.
Even Neo from The Matrix.
Matrix, yeah.
But obviously, every character that you respawn as on this game, you get their abilities. You get their main sort of weapon,
Yeah.
or if in some cases they're melee weapons, and then their specials, allow you to, in the case of Neo, kind of slow down time, take people out. It was a great fun, and I don't know. I'm definitely up for actually smashing through
Yeah.
the rest of that one.
Yeah. There is a great achievement where if
this week's featured game.
if you can get 4 people online co-op in the same session and you all hit your bumpers at the same time, they'll all do their sort of signature flex. Like Schwarzenegger will do his kind of,
Oh,
that.
really?
And if you do it simultaneously, there's an achievement for that. So, yeah, anyone down to join us?
See if we can,
A bit of achievement hunting, let us know.
So wrapping up this games played section, then there's a couple more. Is there anything that you want to really touch upon?
Coffee time too, and that's about it.
Coffee time too. So what's that about?
Well, I enjoyed the first one. It was on Game Pass. It's just a graphic novel, and you just happen to be the barista who overhears the conversations of people walking into a coffee shop and talking with each other. But you influence the story through the eyes of the barista. So, you've got like a journalist will walk in contemplating what her next novel should be. She'll talk to someone at the bar, and then depending on the coffee you give her, you might make her strike inspiration, or you might make her depressed and she writes something else. It's an interesting game. Easy 1000 Gs, which was, the primary reason why I played it. But I did see that it was leaving Game Pass in about a week, and seeing as I finished the first one, I thought, well, I better get this one down the hatchet, and this one does require 3 playthroughs, but, they're not too long. Got the full 1000.
Yeah, nice. Oh, I still haven't got that. Well, I can't remember what the name of the game is, so I won't mention it, but I had to do a 4th playthrough to get all 1000 on that. Return to something. I can't remember the name.
I was going to say Oxenfree, because Oxenfree is like that as well.
No, not Oxenfree. Speaking of which, I need to get the second one, which is only available on PlayStation or Steam, I think. But that was a weird one. 'Cause I don't even think you can get it on Steam. I think you have to get it off the Epic Game Store.
I think it's on Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great
I have to give
game.
that a spin. It was. The soundtrack on that. Oh.
Yeah. It's just Stranger Things, straight.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is our Playstack. Oh, so it was nice to be able to catch up on that in a bit more detail. Should we move on to our featured game, or do you want to break it with some news first? It's up to you.
I think in the case of what we're going to talk about, let's just get it out the way.
Let's just get it out the way.
Let's just say everything you need to know about this.
So this will officially be. Well, this is I think we gave Grounded more time than this. And I don't think we've written Grounded off as a game we'll, potentially, play through the rest of it. It's just a real time killer, Grounded. But Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and this is what I don't understand. So, I remember when this game came out, I played 20 plus hours of this on the PlayStation 4. And it's like something has fundamentally changed with this game. Whatever Ubisoft have done from when this game was out on PS4 to what they've done to it now, it's just mind-boggling what they've done with this game. I don't know whether they've added so much extra stuff to it that it makes it so annoying to now play. But it wasn't the same game that I played back on PS4. PS4 actually played with less bugs. Like, I played with you, and you would disappear in the map sometimes when we go through the main inside the mountain area, which is kind of the social space. You would disappear. There'd be bugs happening when you try and, climb down or prone off a ladder and all of this weird stuff. Very odd. It's like my memories of this game have completely changed. And I don't know whether this is a versioning issue or whether Ubisoft have just played around with this game so much since it first came out that they fundamentally kind of ruined it a bit. I mean, EA does that with FIFA. But that's kind of what happened with Breakpoint. So, in a nutshell, for those that don't know anything about Ghost Recon Breakpoint, it's an open world tactical shooter. You can have up to 4 people playing cooperatively online, or you can control 3 NPC-based characters and give them instructions if you want to play it solo. It's not a game worth playing solo, to be honest with you, but I mean, your best experience would be online, although I say that now. I don't know.
Well, it's coming off as a game that's not worth playing co-op as well, because it's just so bloody confusing.
So the game is set in a fictional archipelago of the world called Auroa, with wildlands, of course, being in Bolivia. And there's a follow-on with a specific character called Walker from the previous game. So in this game, you're tasked with investigating and stopping a rogue military character known as Skell Technology. And it was interesting when you traverse through this world. This is kind of like if the archipelago had been taken over by a technocracy bringing in a 4th industrial revolution. That's the best way to describe it to people, because there's certain things when you play this game, you're like, this came out before
AI,
the Rona and the AI and all, and it's like it's envisaged, like Clancy has envisaged all of this stuff, and that's what's so weird about playing this, and also Watch Dogs, which came out before these certain events happening. It's almost like someone within Ubisoft has got a little ear to the ground or something. Very strange.
You think Yves Guillemot's in on it?
I think he's in. Oh, he's definitely a part of the Freemasons, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a French accent as well. That's all fake.
But yes, the idea of the game is you've got to disrupt Skell, and obviously disrupt as well the kind of rogue guy. And I'll leave it at that because I don't want to spoil it. If you do decide to play this game after we've probably beaten it half to death by the time that we've finished. So the game, it's open world, of course, 160 kilometers in size. It feels smaller. It definitely is smaller than Wildlands. There's 19 regions in it, different terrains and climates affecting the gameplay. The main campaign, which has got a number of different investigational chapters in it. And there's a whole bunch of side missions to be had in this too. So in terms of if you want bang for your buck in terms of stuff to do, there's no complaints here. There's tons of stuff to do. The menu system is so bewildering when you first play this game. You will not know where to start.
No, we put 4 hours into this game, and by the end of the 4 hours, I still didn't know how to navigate the missions. It is like, what makes sense, right? If you've got missions, a list, a simple list format, right? Here's your missions, here's your side missions. Heck, if you want to tab them and break them up into different columns, fine, do that. But what they've decided to do is create a mission list in the form of like a navigational map. Yeah. So you go to the mission tab, and then you're thinking, oh, there's missions on the screen, so let me go ahead and select it. Then you realize the whole screen sort of shifts like an interactive map. And then you realize, oh, the primaries are on the bottom, the side missions are on the right, and so on and so forth, DLC up top. And now, at a glance, that might sound, okay, fine, it's different, but that's navigational. But then you click on these kind of photograph snapshots which represent each mission, and then they break out into subcategories. And then each one has different it gets so convoluted and confusing to do all that. But then add that to the fact that this game does everything in its power to get you to use the damn pause menu. The tutorials are the most invasive thing I've seen since the Roman army. 4 hours into the game, middle of crucial combat, you're getting attacked by an AI tank of sorts. Press A to figure out how to customize your suppressor. Why now? What made you decide now was the optimum moment? All right, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt again. Maybe I picked up something from an enemy that I downed earlier that may have triggered it. No, that didn't happen. Just decided now was the time to do this. You can't get this damn message off the screen until you go into the menu. What makes it worse is because we're playing online co-op, you can't pause online games. So I go into this thing thinking, let me get rid of it. No, I'm being shot while this menu tutorial's up. Now, What does Ubisoft decide to do? Is there a skip button you can quickly get through it? No, it waits 3 seconds for the bloody circle to fully form before you can press A to go to the next graphic. It literally that was the thing that made me really annoyed with this game. But if I bring it sort of down to earth a little bit more, it just felt really dated. If I'm honest with you, it was just a game that hinges entirely on fetch quests. I know in the beginning of the game we made some certain choices on how we wanted to play the game, and I think that was based on some experience you may have had in Wildlands. But what I quickly realized is that every mission was the same format. Oh, there's something. What is it? Find so and so, and they happen to be in such and such region. Now, the house we know is located in the southeast part of the region. It's the most northerly house of the village, and so you're constantly on this damn menu.
Yeah, that was my fault.
Yeah, where to navigate to, and then you get there and you do the same thing. Oh, we've got to throw the drones out. Let's scout the area. Once or twice is fine, but it just felt like every mission had the same structure. Go there, scout the area, tag the enemies. Okay, let you go around the left, I'll go around the right. We take them out, and you find the target. You either pick up a document, speak to someone, then it's like, all right, go to the other end of the map. We know there's a building located in this region. We think it's on the left side. It honestly, it felt really fetch questy. And again, you mentioned the guns didn't really feel like they packed that punch. There wasn't enough there to keep me wanting to play. It just felt really boring and monotonous, if I'm completely honest with you. Yeah. So
it was really weird because the premise of this story, that first playthrough that I didn't complete it, but I did 20 hours of it. I found it captivating, and yet this second time playing it with yourself, the menu system was nowhere near that bad last time round. I can assure you. I think because they've added so much stuff to it, they don't even know where to put half of it now. But the actual storyline and what it's trying to do was really interesting the first time I played this back years ago, and then playing back through it again, and I forgot a good chunk of it, but it felt so drawn out. Like the cutscenes was, you have a cutscene that was 2.5, 3 minutes. It's borderline like
every
and
time
it's not
you do
even
something
high octane, impactful. Oh, this is really exciting to watch. It's just some old guy who looks like another guy who should have his hard drive checked, talking about, this technology that I own, this AI technology that are allowing these drones and stopping people leaving this island. And you realise just how boring it became. Yeah. From the literally 2.0 storyline that exists within Wildlands. It's almost dialed that story up too much.
Yeah, I think this is why I found it really bewildering, because I do remember playing Wildlands with you years ago, and again, it's one of those games that slipped under my radar. I think I put about maybe an hour or two with you, but I do remember, from what I remember, it being a lot more exciting and engaging.
Yeah.
I don't remember the menu system, but I sort of remember following your lead. Like, let's go here, take out these sort of, cartel members, do this, do that. The drone was, a new aspect. And it just overall felt like a bit more of a fun game. Location-wise, it was way easier to navigate. Sort of that tropical Bolivia setting. But, having to turn in a mission into the main hub area in Breakpoint, which is basically a mountain carved out. This inner chamber of this mountain, it honestly puts the Batcave to shame. It's so big, and then every single time you want to get out of this damn mountain, you have to pull a map out or figure out where the exit is. Nothing is easily identifiable. There's no compass, and you had a big gripe with this, so I couldn't even say, it's in sort of 275 direction. No, you've got to go through bushes to find the exit. It's just no.
That was such a weird move for them to remove that, because that was half the fun of saying, that's one of the things I did like about PUBG, was you could say, enemy 275 east, except that type of thing. It kind of gave you that feeling of military-esque style combat, and they completely removed that. You can only access it when you're in a drone, which devoids the whole object. with getting your sniper rifle out or things like that. It's
so Breakpoint does this weird thing where I want to play this the way it's meant to be played. And what I mean by that is, if there's two enemies and you and I are hiding in a bush scouting out these enemies, naturally I take the left, you take the right. You can do that, but this game really borders too much on the action side, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Because if you get spotted while you're in that bush by another enemy, all of a sudden it just turns into a third-person ballistic shooter.
I wonder if, because this game can be customized to with an inch of its life, and I wonder if there is a sweet point. And I don't know whether that's a case of cranking that difficulty up further. And I know that even during the night settings, there's a way to make it so dark you have to use your optics and your night vision and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas the defaults, you don't need to use any of those additional tools. I wonder if there's something, but even so, you've got that layered bit with the story and stuff that's going to, take that away from it anyway.
It crossed my mind, but then even, let's say we cranked all the realism simulation stuff to the max, you've still got the same mission structure, right? So, okay, I know you can change it so you don't have to investigate. It will just give you a waypoint on the map, go there. Even if you do that, you're still doing the same thing. Go there, watch 3 minutes of cutscenes. Go to this document, get another 3 minutes of cutscenes. Then try to figure out how to get in and out of that mountain again. It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
It just felt like
and you've got the DLC.
Yeah. The only saving grace is that I only paid $8 on sale for this.
Yeah.
But I did then go back in and pay $12 for the DLC on sale. So, there's a bit of waste.
I still believe that they've done something to that game to make it worse. However, when I looked at the Metacritic review scores, I'm pretty sure Breakpoint came out worse than Wildlands in scoring.
But this is interesting because I've heard both sides of the aisle here. I've heard that they screwed it up. Wildlands was perfect. Just build off of that. But I also literally have people I know in real life saying, "Oh, have you played Breakpoint? Everything wrong with Wildlands. They fixed it." So I don't know what to believe, because on one hand, I played Wildlands with you, remember having a great time. I remember people saying Breakpoint fixes everything wrong with Wildlands, and to me, I was like, what was wrong with Wildlands? Having played it myself, it just felt, and that's the last, I suppose, cherry on top. The game feels old, and it's not an old game by any stretch, but it feels old. The visuals look a little bit on the date. It's a little bit towards the 360 side. I don't know. It just the guns didn't pack the punch that I want. If I'm using a high octane sniper rifle and I'm picking people out in a compound, I want there to be a bit more to it,
Well, you feel that on Wildlands. That's what's weird. You get
this game, it just felt
PSG one out, and you feel like you. I don't know what they've changed with it.
This just felt like it didn't do it for me. I don't know why. It just sorry, mate. I know it was your recommendation, but
it was.
I'll have to. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do Crime Boss, Roque City, right? I'm gonna be Chuck Norris. You can be Michelle Pfeiffer or whoever. You pick who the litter is, and.
So that's on Game Pass, is it? We'll have to.
Well, I'm googling it and I'm not seeing it on Game Pass. So I don't know if it's been removed. But
we'll definitely do that one when the price is right.
It's always on sale. I mean, right now, what is it? It's $19.99. So.
How is it?
It's always on trial as well. If you can pick it up in the trial, it's worth checking out. Visuals are gorgeous, though.
Okay. So that is Ghost Recon in a nutshell. And I think the only thing from Wildlands would be that I actually want a captivating story rather than one that was non-existent. That was my biggest bugbear of Wildlands. There wasn't enough to keep you wanting to play through it or keep you wanting to do everything that was in that game. But yeah, that was Breakpoint. So that's officially what I would call the first game that we collectively said, nah. Well, I'm probably still going to go back to it because I just like those types of, just that style of. I'm quite happy doing half an hour's worth of recon if it's real difficulty spike and doing all of this type of stuff like the Sniper Elite games. But
Definitely a pass from me.
yeah. So there you go. It's on sale, or it might not be on sale anymore. But if we've convinced you to buy it, I'm not quite sure why. But anyway.
Yeah, just one of the many reasons Ubisoft Plus exists. So if you've got the Ubisoft Plus membership and you don't quite feel like paying for it,
Get in there and dip your toes in and see what it's
get
like.
annoyed and jump out, yeah.
And still get tutorials 4 hours later. Well, we're on to the news. We're on to the news segment for this week, guys. So
I'm looking at a bullet point you've got on this news segment about me getting banned from XDefiant, and I thought that was hilarious.
Was that on the news segment? It wasn't. I think it was on the Playstack, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't. Maybe
let's talk about it. We were trying to. We were trying it because not only that, we forgot this on the Playstack. I've obviously mentioned that I've removed one game. I've removed off one machine because of this whole hit detection thing that we've obviously mentioned on the last episode of the podcast. But Season 1's officially started. The new GSK faction from the Rainbow Six Siege game is now another possible playable faction character if you can get enough skill points to unlock the things. Still haven't got a DedSec. But we went to play it last night after we kind of gave up on Breakpoint, and you're banned for some reason. You can't figure out why.
What was it? Wednesday night, I said, you know what? I haven't played in a while. XDefiant. Season 1's out. Yeah. Maybe the patch they released or the update fixes the one and only achievement I'm missing, which is the MVP one. 200 Gs, by the way. Yeah. I've got an MVP maybe almost close to 10 times now. Let me go in. Played the first game, managed to get the new clubhouse map. Really nice map, by the way. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Well done to the team for putting that out. Didn't get MVP, so I don't know if it's fixed or not. But played 2 games, went to bed. Hopped on after our Breakpoint session, only to find out that, you cannot... What was it? Unable to join game, one or more party members have been banned.
Yeah.
So I said, have you been banned, mate? Because I was on it last night and everything is fine. So I kicked you out the party and I've been banned for some reason.
Yeah.
Didn't leave a game early. Didn't even have the mic on, so I couldn't have even cussed anyone out. I don't know why I've been banned.
That's so weird.
It's not fair.
Were you absolutely trouncing people and someone got butthurt or anything? Or?
But even that, I think you have to have a certain number of votes for it to be deemed true. Yeah. So if someone's got a vendetta against you, obviously they're going to report you. But nothing happened. I didn't. So what did I? I came maybe midway through the results. I wasn't doing amazing. I have no idea why I got banned. It's got to be a false positive.
Yeah, that's weird. But I don't know. Is the netcode thing still a thing, or is that when you did play it? Is it better now? Or
first game was absolutely amazing. I thought, this is they've done it finally, right? Second game, I was like, nah, it's back. Oh, God. And this is I can't replicate the issue. So at least if I knew how to get good netcode, maybe at a certain server or a certain game type, then I'd only play that to at least have an enjoyable experience. But at the moment, it's completely random. And we've figured out that if I'm the host and you join my party, then it seems like you join the North American server because your ping goes way out there to like 160.
Over 100.
Yeah. And then vice versa, when I join you as the host, I seem to get put onto the European server, so I tend to suffer. But either way, it doesn't matter because the hit detection's bollocks, that you still can't run around the corner without getting killed, so XDefiant is still XDefiant with just a lot more menu polish. It's red.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my XDefiant bitching done for the week.
I wonder when they're going to add those maps from Steep and a few other games. I think there's the ski lodge map and the pit map from the Crew. I don't know if it's going to make a massive difference. I was always looking for places to camp, but they design these maps that you can't really do it too well.
And that's fine, but the quick scoping, is still a problem. I don't know. I just really want to know what goes on in the minds of a Ubisoft employee when they sit there and go, right, guys, let's tuck into the bag of IPs that we've got, and what can we put out there? I know what we can put. We can put Rabbids emoticons all over the damn game, and I know, let's use Steep, a game that really no one ever respected or liked. They're not even on Game Pass could they shift copies of that game. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned this because I've got an evergreen section for this week's podcast because there's been a bit of news that's come out, and obviously you play the Call of Duty stuff more than me, but this new release that's coming out, I'm finally gonna give it a good spin and get into it. But what I've noticed is this Fortnitification of Call of Duty multiplayer items. So we've had an announcement just before we went to record today that Call of Duty and WWE have announced a collaboration for Season 5 of Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone, set to begin 24th of July. This crossover will introduce new content, including WWE-themed operators. So you could be like Kane or something. Just start shooting people to the games. The announcement has obviously got a variety of different reactions. Now, people were saying this about the gun, the gun customizations, like how stupid that some of these guns are now looking. I think there was a Peace one that came out back in June or whatever, and it's just this gun with loads of hippie like trinkets all over it and all that stuff. What's going on there? Because I get this in the Fortnite universe. This works. You can bring in all characters from all different genres. It's in that color scheme that it makes sense. And I don't know whether the guys behind Call of Duty just thought, oh, well, look at all these collaborations that happen. We should get on a piece of the pie with that. But it just doesn't feel like the type of game you do it with.
Yeah, they've always had this gimmicky weapon unlock system, especially with weapons in Call of Duty for years. I think if you master a weapon, then you get like, I don't know if I'm right or not, but someone correct me, this shiny purple skin that makes the gun purple. I get it. You want to make your operator and your equipment as unique to your personality as possible. I'm all for it. But no, I agree with you. There is a limit. But at the same time, we do live in this world now where everything's going up. They've got to find more ways to make money. And if they're getting paid or paying for a wrestling collab, then so be it. I tell you what a weird one was, and this is going slightly off topic.
Yeah.
I want to say sort of 4 to 5 months ago, Street Fighter 6 announced their first collaboration.
Yeah.
And you go into the Battle Hub, and it was completely Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles themed. So you could get Ryu's, headband in the 4 colors of the turtles. You could get a shell on your back. And so Capcom are doing the same thing as well. And Street Fighter 6 has a World Tour mode. And so all that stuff that you earn in, the Battle Hub, I think it translates over to World Tour mode. So you're running around the streets looking like a complete knob with a completely mismatched costume, shorts and Timberlands at the same time with an umbrella on your head. It doesn't, this is where games are going now,
Yeah. It's very bizarre. I think Call of Duty have been dabbling with some of this for a little while, because I remember reading that in Vanguard there was like an anime crossover where they started playing with this stuff as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It feels right to do it in something like Fortnite. You can get away with it. It's really easy to get away with it. I mean, Fortnite is now its own universe systems now. There's games within games on Fortnite now. It's like a game creation server now at this point.
I think they should stick to collaborations that make sense. If you had a collaboration with like the US Army and you started getting patches, like
they'll get in thing for that though, won't they? So it's a recruitment tool.
Really surprised that the Marine Corps and the US Army and the Navy haven't capitalized off of Call of Duty as it is.
Yeah.
That's just the perfect outlet to advertise, for the upcoming war in Russia soon.
You've heard it here first. It's happening.
It's happening. Starting with Call of Duty.
But I thought that was interesting. It seems like they're not going to back away from that, but it is annoying a bunch of fans, and I think they're just saying, this is just
So let's
taking some of that.
Let's have a heart to heart then. So really, with the way everything's happened in gaming the past year or two, they got to make money somehow. It's either I think Phil Spencer said it best. They've got 2 choices. This is when they moved the 4 games over to PlayStation. We can either charge our fans more, whether it be through Game Pass or through game purchases, or we can give it to another audience and they pay for it. And that's probably the more desired effect, because, you'd happily pay for a game that you've never played before. Whereas if I have to pay for something that I've already played, whether it's Game Pass or the game, it doesn't make sense. And you're going to alienate and annoy your players or your fan base a lot more, so... If they're getting paid through WWE royalties, well, that's a good question. Who would pay who? It would.
I don't know.
Because on one hand, it would make sense that Call of Duty pays the WWE network to have their IP in the game. But then again, this is advertising for WWE. So you'd think that maybe they pay to get in. I don't know. It's a weird one.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I don't know whether there's any, even if 2K are involved in that somehow, because obviously they make the WWE games. But I don't know.
More just branding, though.
Probably.
Yeah.
Looking back at that, I do wonder whether some of this has always kind of been on the cards, and possibly is why we're still not seeing what we thought was going to happen, seeing a lot more cross-gen support on games. But even that, there's still a mark, it seems to be with more free-to-play games than anything else that you get that. And it makes me wonder whether if that has anything to do with why it's not happening as much on these multi-platform games.
I don't know. You still got games like FIFA, which is obviously a $70 game that you got all the advertising banners that can easily, especially with nowadays technology, be updated every week if they wanted to.
Yeah.
You got your Forza games, which have advertising on some of the billboards around the city. There are definitely games that make sense, and I would actually implore them to do it. Like I said, FIFA is a great game to advertise. It mimics the real thing.
Yeah.
I'm scared for Grand Theft Auto because this is going to be an advertiser's dream. If you're walking around Vice City and there's billboards everywhere, well, pack a Marlboro here, pack a Marlboro there. But it's got to be. I'm not against it. It has to fit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you can't really advertise. Well, you can advertise cigarettes and tobacco in the US, I think, not so much the UK. So if they want to advertise cigarettes and tobacco in Grand Theft Auto, it's just perfect for that kind of thing,
Yeah.
Or what's that medical marijuana place we have? The Dank, it's called.
That's it.
It just certain things make a lot of sense.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with that. But speaking of prices and game future, we've had a couple of things change here on the Microsoft side of things that are bending some people's nose out of shape. I don't know. I mean, just look at it. I just don't. It's just X. I reckon if you go outside of X, no one cares about this. I reckon. Look outside of X, I don't think there is the freak out moment that exists with this change that's happened from Microsoft in terms of the Game Pass. They've had a bit of a rebrand in terms of the tiers.
I think the only people that are really going to be affected primarily are going to be the people who go all in on the console wars.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really
weird. So what is it? It is so we've had a new tier entered into Game Pass, right? So we've now got this tier called Game Pass Standard, which gives you the library of Game Pass games, not the limited 25 plus of core. So you get a big library, chunky library. You get your online multiplayer. You get some member deals and discounts. But you are essentially losing out on day one releases. So anything that drops, like Starfield did, which probably did nice for the little subs there for them, compared to Hellblade 2, which I don't think really helped Game Pass. Then you're not going to do that. And from what I've heard is that Microsoft are probably going to be pretty variable in terms of the delay that when they will put these onto the main catalogue for people that are on Game Pass Standard. So I don't think it's going to be you wait 3 months, it's there. I think it could be dependent on the game that it is. So
it's interesting timing as well, because I did wonder why now. Right, we all know Black Ops 6 is coming out end of the year. That's going to be the system seller. This could very well be an Xbox system seller. And what a lot of people do tend to do is the whole Netflix thing, right? You jump in for a month, play a couple of things, and then jump off. And Black Ops could easily be that game. If it ends up not being one of the more favorite Call of Duty titles, people could easily jump off.
Yeah.
But if I'm correct, then they also have a grandfathering of the prices as we speak, right? So if you have the old price now, once these new prices go into effect, you won't pay the increase. I think. So if I'm, for example, I'm on Ultimate right now, I'm paying $15.99 a month dollars. And I believe that will stay the same as long as I don't change or cancel my subscription. So I think if people jump aboard the Game Pass train now, not only do they get the cheaper pricing, but it keeps people going for more than just 1 month here and 1 month there in the lead up to Black Ops, which is what, end of October, beginning of November.
Yeah.
So they get, a few more months out of it. But if that doesn't work out for people and they still prefer to pay the month, then at least that way they'll make $20 instead of the 15. So there's a 33% price hike.
Yeah, and that you looked into the equivalency between this and PlayStation. It seems to be parity based, right?
Yeah, because this is always what happens. Every time one does one thing, they always compare it to the other. So September of 2023, all 3 tiers of PlayStation Plus, went up. So Essential went from $60 to $80, 33% increase. Extra, $100 to $135, 35% increase. And then Premium went from $120 to $160, another 33% increase. I suppose the only saving grace here is that the price hike was a lot bigger, even though it's parity. When it comes to percentages, it seems the same. But jumping from $60 to $80, that's way more than the $5 increase that Game Pass is offering. In some cases, you got PlayStation Plus Premium, you're going from $120 to $160. That's a $40 increase.
Yeah.
A year. I get that. But also at the same time, Game Pass for an extra $5 does give you day one releases. It gives you the EA Play membership. So there is. I still think there's more value.
It gives you the cloud gaming as well, which they've knocked out of the other tiers.
I'm not too sure if that's. I don't know.
It is if you're on a handheld, right? Or if the handheld comes out.
The handheld will come out. I don't know what the hell they're doing with the cloud gaming stuff, because it feels like ever since they announced it, they haven't done anything with it. There's not been any improvements. They've not made any advertising. There's no fuss about it. It just feels like it's just a bullet point on a sales pitch, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too. I'd love to know if there's people who solidly, no, it's just hit me. It's just hit me. You know what that's for?
What?
The Amazon stick.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
There you go. There's a story.
Oh, it is. Because if you can't... That's very, very... Well, I've not seen a commentary on this either.
Yeah.
I've not seen anyone look at it from this perspective. This could be, ladies and gentlemen, this could be a unique territory here. Yeah. So, obviously, Amazon Fire TV Stick is now coming out with Xbox Cloud as an app that is deployable on it. And that is... You can imagine the install base on Fire TVs. That loads of people own these. Now look at Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is the only tier of which you can do cloud gaming on multiple devices. So that's pretty interesting. And that means that the way I'm looking at this and the way it's been written, and perhaps it would be good to get double verification on it, but it looks to me like unless you have that top tier subscription, you can have a Fire Stick, but you ain't playing the cloud on it unless you've got the full on.
That's what it is. And we know Microsoft's always been about playing the way you want. And I think, and we know that they had, what was it, Project Keystone, which was the little streaming box they tried to do. And it was in a couple of Phil Spencer's videos in the background on the shelf, and he said that was it. And, there's a couple of pictures floating around. Problem is, they couldn't get the hardware down to a price point that they felt was accessible. And I think this Xbox streaming app on Amazon Fire Stick is one of the most genius ideas ever. I've just had a quick look. As of 2023, there is a 150 million install base.
Wow.
So people who've already got Amazon Fire Sticks, potentially many of them casual gamers as well. But in order to play, you need that $20 sub. There you go. And once you're on there,
that's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Once you're on there, you realize, oh, Gears 5, that's already on this. Oh, Black Ops 6. I mean, I wouldn't play Black Ops 6 over streaming, but it's there if you like masochism a bit.
But is I mean, you can imagine as well from a perspective. So take this out of regular consumer market, and then start to look at this in the commercial sector as well. How many hotel chains are going to go, you know what? It'd be nice to just whack a Fire Stick in some of these hotel TVs and put an Xbox controller in it. All of a sudden, all of these hotels are offering a new, nicer way to give people amenities in hotel stays.
Well, this is where
There's all sorts of ways they can leverage that.
This is where it gets really interesting. So other than Amazon, what are the other two competitors? You've got Roku, and then you've got the Apple TV.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that as of last year, iOS 17, Apple introduced a feature where some participating hotels, you walk in and you look on the TV, there's a QR code that's being displayed. You scan that QR code with your iPhone, log in on your iPhone with your iTunes account, and then bang, Apple TV, your Apple TV library and your subscriptions appear on the hotel TV. Now imagine that technology, and if Apple just pull their finger out and redo the the end user license agreement of the App Store and everything, and allow game streaming on their platform, then Apple TV becomes another massive install base, as does Roku. Roku will be next. That's obvious. That's easy. They're open just like Amazon are. But this is fantastic news. Really good news.
No, definitely. So, wow. I'd really be interested to get that double confirmation on it. Based on this table that we've seen, that makes sense. But I would love to see 100% if that is purely down to Ultimate only, basically.
Yeah.
So if the table's wrong, that's available, but it looks like that could be one part, having to free up some of the money off of that Activision acquisition, but also another part, this way of getting into more homes. But hey, you're not getting into it that cheaply,
I've just had a quick look as well. You can purchase an adapter for Amazon Fire Stick that connects to an Ethernet port as well.
Yeah.
And I know the Roku, because I've got a Roku for my garden TV, it has an Ethernet port on that as well. So, it's becoming very viable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. And it seems Microsoft have finally wised up to the people that are stacking subscriptions upon subscriptions. There are some people that will pay 36 months or something stupid like that ahead, and also use their Microsoft rewards to pay for their subscriptions. From what I understand, buying the codes, the stuff that you get inside the shops, and even the digital redemption codes, there is a limit to the amount of which you can buy up in advance your subscription. I think it's the 18-month limit now, and it used to be something like 36. And then they've also announced that starting the 12th of August that users will no longer be able to use Microsoft Reward Points to auto-renew Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and PC Game Pass subscriptions. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it sounds like Microsoft know their value now, and they've said, all right, you've had 5 years of this. You know what we're about. We've got Black Ops 6 coming. Get your wallet out. And
either that, or they know how bad inflation is going to be getting in the next 12 months, and they're like...
I'm going to say with 100% certainty, Black Ops is going to be the Game Pass seller. This is big. This is going to do what Starfield should have done. Yeah. This is going to be the system seller.
Interesting. Well, that is... Well,
look,
it's still...
Personal question. How do you feel about the price hikes? Because
I actually think that this is quite interesting for someone like myself. Why? Because they put that new tier in. And the reason why I say it is both of us, and I hate this wrong misnomer that people have with the Xbox players, because there are plenty of Xbox players who buy games than people using this stupid talking point, especially on the console war side of things, that we don't. We buy loads of games, and then there's Game Pass on
Tuesdays.
Top. Yeah, and then there's a la carte on top. But you look at that subscription now. You could look at your release schedule window and go, you know what? Yeah, Microsoft's releasing this day one on Game Pass, but it's probably not a game I'm going to play. There is an opportunity to tactically play around with how you play around with the subscription system here, potentially. that you could dial down to Game Pass standard if you want to focus on your own library of owned games for a bit. So you can kind of partial downgrade, save a few bucks, then keep it rolling on the full Ultimate.
Yeah.
It's definitely an option for people who've not dialed into Game Pass,
I think
at least.
the new tier, the middle one that they're introducing, I don't necessarily think that it's a game changer. I just think they needed an answer for the $15 plan. Here's the thing: if you've got people currently paying $15, if you don't replace it with something, you'll lose them.
Yeah.
You can't exactly increase the price, or I don't know. I'm not, an expert at anything legal like this, but all you can do is say, add value. I got a feeling one day we'll turn our consoles on and we'll get, the 3 tiles appear and say, you're on this plan. Would you like to change it? Or maybe not if you're on Ultimate, but if you're on one of the lower ones, it will say, hey, this is our new structure. Do you want to upgrade?
Yeah.
They just needed something to keep people paying, essentially. The people that don't play as often, the people that forget they've got these rolling subscriptions, the people that have huge backlogs that they may not necessarily want day one releases, or they've got a Series S and a bit of light gaming here and there. Or you've got a little kid and, But what
do you think about these legacy things, though? I'm assuming they are going to, in terms of future marketing, they might have an asterisk subline below the marketing to say, look, legacy players, this is what it still exists for you guys. But the way that they came out with this information was a little confusing. It took people a little bit of time to figure out, okay, what does this all really mean? And I wonder again, has Xbox done the classic marketing foible of making things way overcomplicated than they need to be? Or could they have not just said, look, you get for the next 6 months, after 6-month period, this is what's happening to your subscriptions. Enjoy it whilst it lasts, but you'll be then moved on to whatever this, Game Pass standard is or Game Pass Ultimate. And you don't get the legacy layover.
I don't necessarily think it's an issue, because I think this new announcement actually fixes what went wrong with the last announcement. So if you remember last year, they did a price increase as well. I think it was $1 and $3 depending on the plan that you were on. Very small. But they introduced the new naming structure, the core name, we had Ultimate, but there was some changes, especially to the PC tier as well. And then you pay an extra $1, you got EA Play, and it was like, well, for an extra $1, I might as well get that, So I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot with that. I think this kind of rights that wrong, if I'm honest with you. It puts things into a bit more of a clear perspective. What's the price of the core one, though? It looks... have we got it noted down here? Xbox Core on a 12-month goes from 60 to 74. So I'm presuming that's $9.99 a month or $8.99 a month. I may be wrong.
Sure, I'm not Carol Vorderman, so I'm not too sure.
But yeah, I asked you how you felt about it. For me, I always knew this day was coming. Ever since Game Pass was in beta, 6-7 years ago, whenever it was.
Yeah.
It was such a good deal. And I'll be honest with you, even at the $5 monthly increase, it still is a good deal.
Yeah.
I just don't know how it's going to factor into my backlog, because I think that's the only question I have. What constitutes...
Would you ever dial down?
Probably not, if I'm honest with you. My only question, what constitutes a day one release? Because after, when does it go down to the standard plan, a new game? Is it 2 weeks? Is it a month later? Is it a year later?
Well, they've not mentioned.
And I think that's why they're keeping it a bit ambiguous, because if it's, for example, 14 days after, then I think a lot of people will go, oh, that's fine, I'll wait 14 days. I've got a lot to play anyway.
Yeah.
So I think they want to keep people in the dark. Is it a month?
Yeah.
That's the only question I have. I need to know
I think it'll be variable based on the title.
Yeah, that's a good point. Call of Duty, I can see being on Ultimate for a very long time.
Yeah, it'll be easily a year before they put it on standard.
well, I think what will this is where it gets funny. This is what I think that's what will happen. The newest Call of Duty will always be on the ultimate plan.
Yeah.
And the previous years will then trickle down to standard.
People will be wanting it to go on PS5 so they could get it on standard. That's it. The narrative will change. People will be like, "Go on, put more games over the PlayStation. I want this on standard." I don't know. Like for me, I've got, like I said, the same with you. I've got so many games in the backlog that I will probably be someone that dials up and down based on the day one releases, because I can't really honestly say I've just got Game Pass ticking over. It's nice to occasionally dabble. You know, when I do dabble on something, I'll see this and I just want to play it very briefly. Sometimes I will boot it up on the cloud just to get a little taste of what the game's like, to see if I'll enjoy it. And then if I enjoy it, I download the full game and get obviously the best fidelity. It's good for that type of thing. But having the XB play on my Steam Deck kind of changes the cloud, the use of cloud for me, having it on, you know, because smaller screen, obviously compared, it's relative, so you can get some really, really tasty visuals on a smaller screen.
Yeah, pictures are smaller.
Yeah, so it kind of works better in that regard. And I've even tried playing Flight Simulator over the cloud.
Oh, I thought you were saying on Steam Deck. No. Natively. I was like, what?
No. But yeah, it works all right. I don't know why I downloaded it. I downloaded the full Flight Simulator and the hard drive was just
you've always done weird things like that.
The second one's coming out. Is it this year?
What's that? The Switch?
Flight Simulator 2024.
Or 2024. I think they should just call it 25 at this point. We're almost at the end of the year. It's going to be out of date before it even releases.
I still can't land a plane properly on that thing. It's so difficult. It's so hard.
There was only one thing I ever wanted to do in Flight Sim, and that was fly over my house and see how accurate it was.
Yeah.
It's accurate.
And it's ridiculously accurate, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that was my old house. I want to do it again on my new house and see if I can get it.
It is good for that type of stuff. Anyway, last couple of news items before we wrap it up for this week. It's just a couple of quick ones. So, just an update, because one of the videos that we did put up, a little short, was about this Marvel versus Capcom, the collection that you really wanted to find its way on Xbox, and it got snubbed. It didn't find its way on Xbox, and we were trying to, at the time, figure out why that is. And I think you've got a bit more information on why it might be.
I've got a bit more, what's the word? Conspiracy.
Oh, right.
Because I'm hearing things that sounded true, but then I sat there and thought, hold on a second. So Marvel vs. Capcom 2, regarded as the best crossover beat-em-up game of all time. That single title. But there are others like it. X-Men vs. Street Fighter, X-Men Children of the Atom, MVC 1, and a few others. During the Nintendo Direct conference last month, they surprised the entire world. Not just the fighting community, but the entire world was shocked that this actually happened. To put a bit of a background story on it, Marvel vs. Capcom has gone through a licensing hell for the last 10 years. We haven't been able to buy these older games on anything since the 360 and PS3. Licensing expired. Marvel went through some corporate changes. They got bought by Disney. A bunch of stuff happened, and it was just a licensing nightmare.
Yeah.
So, we had the Street Fighter 30th anniversary collection about 6 years ago. Decent. Wasn't great for online, but decent. You've now got all those older games. A couple of years ago, we got the Capcom Fighting Collection, which put a bunch of Darkstalkers games back under the spotlight. And Darkstalkers is even more rarer than the Street Fighter games. So the fact that we got all 5 Darkstalkers games, plus SF Hyper Fighting and a few others, Pocket Fighter, Puzzle Fighter, Red Earth, Cyberbots, and a few others.
Yeah.
And they added rollback netcode to it as well, with a great framework packaging, and that was highly regarded as one of the better collections. Only to find out that during this announcement that the only platforms getting this, I say only, but Nintendo's getting it,
Yeah.
PlayStation's getting it, Steam's getting it.
PlayStation 4's getting it as well.
PlayStation 4's even getting it. But Xbox isn't. And it's led to, obviously, a massive outrage online. Maybe even open up a petition on change.org. I signed it 3 times, I may add, with 3 different accounts.
Yeah.
And there was this, thing that people started whispering about. There's no pipeline to Empty Framework. And so I looked into it, and apparently Empty Framework was one of the older Capcom engines that Capcom obviously used prior to RE Engine that they used to make this stuff on. And apparently there was no pipeline on getting this published onto Xbox anymore.
Right.
But then people said, well, hold on a second. 2 years ago, we got the Capcom Fighting Collection, which is exactly the same.
Yeah.
We've seen the UI. It's the same packaging, just different ROMs. So that can't be it.
Yeah.
Well, people are starting to think there may be some secret exclusivity deal behind the scenes between PlayStation and Marvel. We actually don't have an official reason.
And we still don't.
We still don't have we've got theories, there's conspiracies, there's so-and-so dated someone's daughter at one point, so they had connections at Sony. There's been everything you can think of, but one thing's for sure, and that is the fighting community is not happy.
Yeah.
Not happy whatsoever. So I don't know what the reason is. I don't know if this will ever be fixed. I don't know if this is even a timed exclusive. But no one has said anything at an official level.
Right. That's very strange.
And so I want this collection so badly. But my morals are telling me, don't give PlayStation the money. If this happens to be a payoff, a timed exclusive, that makes me not want to support it even more.
Yeah.
So I can't even be platform agnostic even if I wanted to at this point. This is such a smack in the face.
Yeah. And I looked into, you look at a bunch of those games and you start looking at the characters and you go, well, is there a specific character in one of these games that prevent...
Oh, yeah.
But we've seen them do different versions. Like, for instance, like Broforce did for the Xbox. There was different variations of it that they could technically...
Oh.
Like they could take a game out that had Spider-Man in or something, couldn't they?
Well, that's the thing. Spider-Man is one of the crucial characters in all of these games. And
so in all of them, are they?
Majority of them. So
Right.
I think, especially the big ones that people want, I think Spider-Man is probably the key to this. I think Sony owning Spider-Man is the biggest problem in the comic book universe at the moment.
Yeah.
It's caused so many problems, not only with video games, but with movies,
Yeah. It's a
financial
shame.
and production hell.
I mean, come on. It's the old games, for goodness sake.
Yeah, but it's one of those ones that people will flock to no matter how old it is. 20 years from now, it'll still be, it'll still be the Marvel vs. Capcom 2. But there is a saving grace. There is a light at the end of this tunnel. Not for this collection particularly, but what this will do is the sales numbers and the money that this will rake in will show Capcom and Marvel that there is a future for this kind of game and franchise.
Yeah.
MVCI, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, tanked so badly. Not because it was a bad game, but because it was executed poorly. The visuals were not what people expected. They didn't even have full licensing. I think if I remember correctly, they couldn't even use the word Asgard when it came to Thor's location. They had to call it something else or spell it differently to get around it. Classic FIFA tactics. And they didn't even get a DLC with extra characters. It was so bad. So if this ramps up again, we could see Marvel vs. Capcom 4 on the horizon at some point, which this will easily transition into that. No doubt about that.
But would it still end up on Xbox?
Well, this is the thing. Look, at the end of the day, Marvel and Capcom are happy to do this.
Yeah.
Who gets it, that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be... PlayStation won't allow this. Well, do they have a choice, actually? I'm just thinking hypothetically, if Capcom said to secure rights, we'll make it for all platforms. The Sony version will do a Spider-Man DLC.
Yeah.
Obviously, PlayStation won't have a problem with that because their IP is not showing up on Xbox.
Yeah.
But they may kick up a bit of a hissy fit well, hold on a second. Spider-Man should be in the main roster. He's a, who knows? Who knows what underhand dealings there are?
Yeah, exactly. We shall see. We shall see. I tell you what I saw actually on sale as a part of the... Because we're getting there. We're getting very close to the 360 store finally closing. We've now officially got 14 days by the time this publishes. Less than 2 weeks before that store closes. But the Tekken Tag tournament...
Yeah, I've
on
already
the
got it.
360 is there. I still haven't... I've got to double check actually. I might have a physical copy of that.
The second one?
But yes.
Yeah.
If I haven't, I will go and grab a store card and do a last final bit of shopping in relation to that. But yeah, I really enjoyed that when I played it.
Are you going to play any of these older games?
Well...
That says everything I need to know.
I've got them here. I mean, they're really easy to play. I just need to turn it on and switch my HDMI cable at my desk.
Yeah, but
you know,
this is where I get conflicted.
This game is amazing, by the way. Everyone should play this.
Yeah,
it is, for those that are listening. It's Wakeboarding by Sean Murray.
Right, and you've touched on the ease of access. Fine. This is where I get conflicted. I've got my Xbox...
Because I bought a digital copy of Breakpoint despite I owned it on 3 different... I own 2 copies on Xbox One, 1 copy on PlayStation 5, and another copy on PlayStation 4.
Yeah, that's on you, that one. I can't justify that.
Hey, look. But you can't get this.
Yeah, that's true.
Can't get the Saboteur.
That's true. But here's an interesting thought, though. This store closing down does give all of the games that could potentially die a possibility of getting remasters and remakes.
Very true.
So,
yeah, Saboteur would be a great one, wouldn't it?
I'm trying to think of what else. I would want Singularity remaster for sure.
Yeah, there's quite a few in there that are worth looking at. Anyway, one last story, and we'll let you guys go. It's a very brief one. It might not even be worth doing. I don't know.
Well, let's have a laugh. Go on.
Xbox won an award.
Oh,
and
where?
It was at the Cannes Lion Festival. For those that don't understand what that is, it's actually the biggest marketing festival of the year for creatives and marketeers. It is the most prestige event of the marketing calendar, and Xbox won an award for a very interesting proposition here. So what was it? Well, I find this really interesting. So Xbox created a documentary covering something that they did with the guys at Football Manager, where they actually hired someone who was really good at Football Manager as a talent scout for Bromley FC, a non-league team that I believe has now been promoted to the Football League, because of his ability to be able to, find interesting players that could do well for their club. And it follows this documentary of this guy who was really good at Football Manager, and he managed to bring in some interesting players for that football team, and all of a sudden they're now in a higher football league. Was it worth it?
And that's it, ladies and gentlemen.
That's it. That is a wrap.
It's great for Bromley, I suppose.
It is good for Bromley indeed. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us on the return episode. We're not quite sure yet, 100%, what is going to be our featured game for next week, because we've just got our teeth into Broforce, and maybe we might want to elaborate on that, maybe not. Otherwise, it could be something completely different. But either way, we're going to be back in a couple of weeks' time. Thanks for watching. I've been Nomad.
And I've been Shady Armic.
And we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.